So today I have a super easy tutorial for you. We are going to be creating this fabric folio from start to finish. So hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm here with a super easy tutorial on how to create this fabric folio style album, and this was a requested tutorial following a similar album, which is my fabric folio album here. This is the fall theme. This one I'm making into a Disney Halloween, and the layouts on the inside are different because I just really like taking the inspiration but creating new layouts, and they're gonna be similar. We have the two sections. On this one I added this floating page as well, and it is a super quick and easy base. So we are going to be making this book from start to finish. Also, I do have a cutting guide, so if you want to have all your measurements ahead, I will be listing that on the description box below. It is available on my website. And now let's go ahead and make this book together. Oh, by the way, if you want to skip and just look at the walkthrough, I do have a complete walkthrough at the end of the video. So all you're gonna need for this tutorial is gonna be some fabric. You're gonna need a box, either cereal box, crackers, anything that you have, and some cardstock, and of course some fabric glue. The first thing that we're gonna do is basically set up the base. So I have some different boxes here, so any of these really will work for this project, and I'm mainly interested on the spine. I don't want my folio to be too thick, and so I think this is a really good size for the spine. So I think this is about 2 inches or two and a quarter. Let's check. So 2 and a quarter ish. So that is the size of that, and I think that's actually a perfect size. This one could also be for a smaller size, so it's really up to you, but I'm going to be giving you measurements. That way for the layouts on the inside you can follow the same measurements that I have, but of course you can definitely resize and make it into any size boxes that you have. You can maybe even make multiple little ones and just kind of have fun with this project. I just want you to relax and enjoy a fun crafty afternoon with me. So I'm going to be using this box here. These are my daughter's favorite crackers. She eats them with cheese, and I have a few of these boxes. I don't keep every box anymore because I don't use them as fast as as we consume, but sometimes I do like to keep a few of these boxes. So the first thing that we're gonna do is find the connections. So all of these boxes have a little side here where they have been glued together, and that is the part that I'm going to be opening, so that way I know this is the side that is all connected, and that is going to be my spine. Then I'm going to first take out all of these pieces here along the top, and you can cut this manually or just use a cutting tool like me here to make it a little bit easier. And then I'm just gonna take down the bottom section here. Now I do like to, when I'm cutting these, to keep it at a even measurement, either like 7 or 7.5, like whatever you can round it off, instead of just doing such like a little 1/4 inch, So I do try to make it either an inch or a 1/2 inch and adjust to whatever size my box is. In this case, this measures a little over 7.5, so I'm just gonna cut it at 7.5 to be exact. Okay, and I won't use that anymore. Now for this side, you can use, make it as big as you like. to the size of your box. So my box measures about 6 1/8, but I think I'm going to reduce this to maybe 5.5. Yeah, I think 5.5 will be good, so it's not too big. Actually, I'm gonna take that back. Let's do 6 inches. Okay, so that way I have more room to play with. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the same over on this side here and cut these at 6 inches. Okay, so this is about the same prep that I do when I make my journals on cereal boxes, and I like using cereal boxes because you're gonna lay your cardstock on it or fabric, and if you like sewing onto your sewing machine on paper, this is a good, what do you call this, like a good weight to go through your sewing machine without making it too thick. Like chipboard will be too thick to go on the sewing machine, but this will be perfect. So now that I have the base, I do want to cover all of these up, so I'm just going to use some white cardstock and glue it right on top. Now you could also just turn it to the other side like that and do it like this, but since this is not the natural bending of the box, as you can see, it would just it just keeps popping up like that. So I like keeping the natural bending of the box and just covering this up with cardstock. So I'm just gonna simply use some white cardstock here, and I'm going to cut the 2 pieces at 7.5. Now 7.5 by 6 is the size of my box. So on the 6-inch side, I'm going to go a little bit shy of 6 inches. So I'm gonna go 5 7/8 because I don't want to glue these on top of the bending line. Okay, so just a little bit smaller on the width, but then for the length, I'm gonna go right at 7.5. Okay, so now we have these two, and I'm just gonna go ahead and glue this right on top. Okay, so this is just gonna go like that. Add my glue and line this. So now I'm going to go ahead and glue the piece here on the back. Okay, and just mainly to cover all of these designs. They actually look so good, these crackers. Okay, so now we are just going to press down, and I'm also going to cover that spine. And so my spine measures a little bit less than 2.5, so you also want to cut that a little bit smaller. Okay, so I'm just gonna do maybe 2.25. Okay, so I'm just gonna cut one of these pieces here at 2.25 and by 7.5. Okay, and then we can just go ahead and glue these down. Okay, and I'm going to add these right here, just like that. Okay, so now that we cover and we have the size that we want, we can start adding the fabric here now. So let's move these, and for the fabric you can either use fabric glue or this craft glue, and I hope I have enough. I only have a little bit left. And so what I like to do is I just went ahead and ironed my fabric because I don't like it to be wrinkled, and I only iron the side that I know I'm gonna use, which is this side here. So the other side is not as neat. But then I'm going to grab my base here, and I do like to basically see how I'm gonna cut these and what I'm going to show, and especially if there's like, you know, drawings or people, you don't want to cut their face in half or why not? So I do want to try to incorporate all of these villains here on my cover, at least as much as I can. So I just want to get an idea of how I'm cutting these, and I think that should be fine depending what you like. Or I probably should go, I don't really like this guy, I don't know who that is but I do know the other ones, so maybe I can just go more like that and have these. So let me just fold it so you can kind of get an idea of what you will see. Okay, and I think that's fine. So I think I like how this looks. And then my box ends somewhere over here, so I'm going to be using my fabric scissors here, and I'm just gonna cut these right over here. Okay, so I'm just gonna give it a little room to glue this around. Okay, so I won't be needing that. And okay, so now I know I want to have that just like this. Now you don't want all this extra fabric, so I'm just gonna go ahead and take some of these out. Okay, and you probably just want about an inch all around, and I'm gonna try not to move the placement here. Okay, and I'm just gonna go ahead and glue this bottom side so I don't move it. Okay, so again, fabric glue, or this is the 3-in-1 glue that I think it works really good on fabric as well, so I'm just gonna do that. Okay, so I do add a lot of glue. I don't add glue on the front, like, because I'm afraid of staining the fabric, so I always just put a lot of glue on the parts that I'm folding up. Okay, so that is there, and now I'm just gonna double check that that is where I want it. Let's say if I fold these, and I think that is perfect. So I want these 4 villains here mainly. And okay, so now that I know that is fine, I'm just gonna go ahead and take out some of these extra, because I don't want this to be too bulky. Okay, so we're just gonna do that and add some glue here. Okay, and this fabric I actually had on my stash for a while, and I did get this at Joann's. You know, every year they had their Halloween fabrics or Christmas fabrics, and I'm glad that I had some left, because sadly there's no more Joann's, and I wouldn't know where. Actually, let me know where you guys get your fabric now if you are into fabrics. I've found some online at Michael's, but you know, I haven't seen a lot of different designs. They have kind of like, you know, like flowers, or I did see some fall fabrics, but like general, not so much like characters like this. At least I haven't seen. And it was just so convenient having Joann's so close. But it's okay. I think I have plenty of fabric, enough for a lifetime, because I have a big stash of that. Okay, so I'm just gonna fold around. So as you can see, the way that I am gluing these, I'm just folding it as if I am folding, I don't know, like wrapping a present maybe. So I just like to make a little triangle fold, and I do like to add glue on every layer so they don't come unfolded. And then we're just gonna press and down here. Okay, and this fabric is pretty good, but if you're having some issues, you can always clip it. Let me see if I have a paper clip. I don't think I do. I think I'm using them all. But you can always just put a paper clip and help you hold it until the glue dries. Okay, so I need to put more glue here and then here as well. Okay, and then I'm just gonna hold these right there like that. Okay, now another thing that you could do when you are at this step is you can iron these one more time, so that way your edges are gonna be folded really nice and neat. I have done that before as well, so you can go ahead and do that. Then if I show you my other book here, at this step I will go to my sewing machine and just kind of add the stitches, place it like that, all around here as well. So that could be an optional step. I'm not gonna do that for this book because my sewing machine, it's not set up right now and I'm just a little too lazy to do it at this point. But there you go. So that is basically going to be our cover. And now we're gonna secure the inside here. And what I'm gonna do is just grab my cardstock. So you want to use lightweight cardstock for these, and I'm just gonna grab open this up here and grab a piece. All right, let's open all of that, and I'm going to cut these here. Okay, so if the length of your folio is 7.5, you're gonna cut these at 7.25. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead here and score. Okay, so I'm going to score these at 5 3/4. Oh, 5 3/4 here. So since the width here is 6, I'm going to score at 5 3/4. So you're gonna take a 1/4 inch there, and I just want this first score line. Okay, and then we're going to put these right here. Okay, so it's this way. Okay, so I'm just gonna pretend I'm not gonna add it yet, and I just want to match that bending line here, and then I want to pencil mark where the other bending line will be, which is right here. Okay, so you're just gonna fold that a little bit and see where your bending line is, because I do like to score right on that line, because it will make it a lot easier if you score ahead your spine. Okay, at least on this case, because we're working with a box, it really helps compared to trying to find where that folding line is. Okay, so now let's fold these, and before we glue it, we are going to try. Okay, so now that I have my score line, okay, so pretend we glue this down. Now we're just gonna close this up and pretend we glue the other side and make sure it fits. So this one seems to fit perfect, so I like doing it this way, so that way we kind of know ahead, right? And we're not wrinkling the paper. We know it is the right fit for the inside of our box, and I think it's a lot easier than just kind of coming out with a measurement here. Okay, so now I'm just going to add the fabric glue all around the border. I'm kind of running low on this, so there we go. So we're just gonna go all around where the fabric is. Okay, basically up here. And yes, the other side is not a full side, but that's easy. We're just gonna add another piece there. Okay, and then I'm just going to add glue, regular glue everywhere else. Okay, So I'm just gonna go ahead and add my glue everywhere here, and I'm just gonna put a little bit more on the edges. Okay, and now we're ready to glue this. So fold this cover, and that way you can get the right bending line in place. Okay, so that will go right there. I'm just gonna press down right on the edge, press down. Okay, and then I'm going to fold that other side and just kind of press down here. Okay, and that's just the way I like to do it. I know there's probably many other ways, but hopefully this is easy to know where your bending lines are. Okay, so I'm just gonna make sure it goes right in there. Okay, and just make sure this side it's glue. Okay, and then we're just gonna fold this side, fold this side. Now to finish covering this other section, I'm just going to grab another piece of cardstock, and we're going to cut this at 5 3/4 by 7 1/4. And we are just gonna cover the whole piece here. Okay, so same here, I'm just gonna add the fabric glue where the fabric is. So maybe I'll just put it like that. And I guess you could put the fabric glue everywhere, but I like how these glue bonds the cardstock really well. Okay, so I'm just gonna add some of these. Okay, and now we're just gonna place that right there and press down. So I'm going to just go ahead and press down. Okay, so press down and press here. And there we go. And so that is going to be our fabric folio cover. Okay, so I'm just going to press down. It does tend to lift up because of the fabric, so you just want to make sure that you keep pressing until your glue is fully dry. Okay, and there we go. Okay, so now that we have the fabric cover and the base, we can go ahead and start building our folio. Okay, so now we're going to be working on the layouts, and I just wanted to do a quick look at the previous one so that way we can get some inspiration and do something very similar. Now I always like to change it up, so it won't be identical to this, but we have two folio sections here, and this one opens to the side, and then this opens like that, and then this one opens and opens, so it looks like this is its own little section here. And then we open that up, and then we have the center and opens up and down. So really cute and lots of room for pictures. And then the other side basically opens like this too. And then we have accordion fold here. We have a opening little booklet, and then this also opens, and we have a bucket over here. So super easy layouts. So let's go ahead and create something similar for our folio. Now our folio has a bigger spine. I want to compare the two. It's probably a little bit bigger here, not by much actually. But yeah, so we can even probably have a little bit more room for maybe a floating page at the center. I'm not sure, but let's go ahead and start with the left side here. So we're just gonna create some layouts for that, and I don't want to work directly here, so I'm just gonna cut another piece that is going to be the same size as the inside cover. So it's gonna be 5 3/4 by 7 1/2, and we're gonna be working on this side there. So I'm going to cut 2 pieces, and so we're gonna do these at 6 1/2. Let me cut 2 for these. So now I'm sizing all of these to the size of my page, which is the size of my cover, and basically, so again, if you are using a different box that's a little bit shorter, you can go ahead and just reduce the size accordingly here. And this actually should be 7 1/4, not 7 1/2. So it's gonna be 7 1/4 by 5 3/4. Okay, so now we are going to cut 2 pieces at 6 1/2 by 7 1/4, and I'm going to score. Let me grab my board. We're going to score along the 6 1/2. We're just going to score at 1/2 inch and add 1. Same thing for the other one, 1/2 inch and 1. And then we're gonna fold along this 4 lines. Okay, so we're just gonna fold and fold, and we're going to glue these 2 pieces, one on each side of the base page here. Okay, so I'm just gonna add 1 right here on this side, and then open that up, and we're going to add this other piece over here on the other side. Okay, and we are just going to press down, and I'm gonna open this up and press down on both sides. Okay, so now for the center, I'm going to cut another piece, and this one is going to be 5 1/2 by 7 1/2, and we're going to score along the 7 1/2. Let's put this here. We're going to score at 1/2 inch. Okay, and then fold this along this score line, and this is gonna go on the center, but before I add that piece, I am going to glue 2 more pieces on that. So I'm just going to use my scraps, and I can cut 2 pieces here. Let's do this at 5 1/4. Okay, and by 6 1/2. Okay, so 2 of those, and then I'm going to score at 1/2 inch along the 6 1/2, and I'm just kind of playing around. I don't really have, you know, a plan set for how I want these layouts to be, so feel free to experiment and do something very similar here as well. So on this piece that we just got with the score line along the top, I am going to add these 2 pieces here. Okay, and we are going to do this one right up there. Okay, I'm just gonna center it, press and down, and I can add the other one right here also along the top. Okay, so we can do those two just like that, like a little booklet. Okay, so then here we have two opening pages there. Press down, and then we can bring back this piece and add this whole thing here at the center. So I'm going to add my glue and place this right here and press down. Okay, so right at the center, press down. I'm just gonna open this up and press down here. Okay, so that will be our center, just like a little booklet, and then this larger one that will open up like that. I'm thinking I want to add a closure to that, so I'm going to use this other leftover piece, cut this at 5 1/4, and this is going to be by 4 1/2, and score along the 4 1/2 at 1/2 inch. Okay, and then we can add this piece on the center here as a closure. So I'm adding that on this page here. Okay, so along the bottom, and I'm just gonna add my glue and place these right there. Okay, and press down and press down. So that is gonna be all this center. Now let's work on these other two sides. So I'm going to cut one piece, and this is going to be 7 1/4, and I'm gonna do this by, let's see, 10. Let's just do this by 11 actually. Okay, and we're going to score along the 11 inches at 5 1/4 and 10 1/2, and we're gonna be making a accordion fold. Okay, so we're just gonna fold along the score lines and a simple accordion fold, and we're just gonna place this one on the right side here of the right panel. So let's add glue and line this up right here and press down. So over here we have an accordion panel here, accordion folds, super easy, and that's gonna be that side. And then for the other inside section, maybe we can cut, let's do two pieces at 7 1/4 by 5 1/2, and we can score along the 5 1/2. We can score at 1/2 inch. I'm gonna do the same here. Okay, so 1/2 inch. I'm just scoring at 5 right there, and we're going to add these two on this left opening panel, and I'm just gonna add one on each side, kind of like we have it on the example. And so this side here will have its own little section as well. So we're going to place this one, open this up, and then we will do the other one. Okay, over on the other side. So make sure that you are not gluing on your score line on these 1/2 inch gussets that we have here. Okay, so this side has its own opening section, and then this side has the accordion folds, and the center has this opening right there, and then this also opens to the top just like that. So another place, hidden place there. And since I have this little leftover piece, maybe I can add something on the center here. So maybe we can do a large belly band type of page. And so this is going to be, this is about, let's see, let's cut it so it's an even number. Okay, so we're gonna do this at 8 1/4 by 4 1/2. Okay, so just use the scrap, any scrap piece that you have, and along the 8 1/4 you're gonna score at 1/2 inch and at 7 3/4 and fold and fold. Okay, and then let's open this flap, and we can just place it right at the center, so it will be a full page, and then you have a place to add extra photo mats inside. Okay, so almost like a hidden place for other things. And so we're just gonna place that right at the center and press and down and press down. Okay, and then this is gonna close and close, and then here is that belly band, and now we're just gonna close all of that. All of these is going to go on my inside front cover, so that's gonna be our section 1 here. And so I'm just gonna add the glue and put all of that right over here. You know, I wasn't really thinking when I chose this fabric that I probably don't have any design paper that matches the theme that I chose. So I won't be adding paper. I'm gonna just leave this blank for now until I'm ready to use it. Maybe I'll just use some regular Disney paper, or I don't know, black and purple paper, whatever fits the, you know, matches with the with the cover here. But there you go, that is gonna be one side, and now let's work on the other side there. So I'm also going to just redo the base so I don't have to work directly on that. So this will be 5 3/4 by 7 1/4. Okay, and for this one I'm going to, let's see here, let me cut another piece, and this is going to be, I'm gonna do 6 3/4 by 7 1/4, and so we are going to score along the 6 3/4. I'm going to do 1/2 inch and 1 inch and fold along the score lines, and then I'm just gonna glue this on top of the other. Okay, and we're just gonna put this on the right side, just connect the two. press down. So this is gonna open up to the right. Okay, just like that. Then I'm going to cut 2 pieces, and these are going to be 6.5. So I'm gonna do 6.5. Okay, so let's do 6. Let's actually do 6.25. Okay, so 6.25 by 7.25. And then here I'm going to score along the 6.25. I'm gonna score at 1/2 inch and at 3/4. Same thing on the other side, 1/2 inch and 3/4. And we are going to fold along the score lines. Okay, so fold and fold. Okay, and then bring back these, and you're gonna open that up, and now we're gonna add these 2, one on each side. Okay, so one on the left, okay, so that's gonna go here. Press down, and now we're going to do this one over on the other side. Okay, and press down, and then we're gonna have 1/4 inch gussets for each one of these sections, and then when you close it, you're gonna have that 1/2 inch here to add up to the other side. And now of course we're gonna be adding layouts to each one of these. So let's go ahead and cut 4 pieces. I'm going to do 4 pieces at 5.5. So I'm gonna cut here 2 by 7.5. Okay, and then same thing for this one, 5.5 by 7.5. And we're going to score along the 7.5 at 1/2 inch. Okay, so score at 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, oops, and 1/2 inch here. And then we're going to fold along the score lines, these 4 pieces. Okay, and I like doing the same size, similar layouts, because oops, wrong book. Because then it's a lot easier once you're adding your paper, when a lot of the pages measure about the same. Okay, so we're gonna open these 2, and in these 2 center sections I am going to add 2 on each. Okay, so here is 1, 2 here, and 2 on this side. So I'm just going to add my glue, and we're going to line these up. So make sure that you don't glue on your score lines, bending lines, or gussets. Okay, so that's 1, and the second one is gonna go right on top. Okay, and then press down. And now we're gonna do the other 2 on this other side. Okay, so the 2 centers will get these 2 layouts. Okay, so just gonna center that up. There we go. And then add the other one and place these right up there and press down. Okay, so we have 1 and 2 flaps, and same thing on this side, 1 and 2. Okay, and there we go. Now for these 2 sides, of course I'm gonna add another layout, and we're just gonna do 2 pieces. Let me bring this to this side, and maybe I can use what I have left over actually. Okay, so let's see, that's, yeah, this one's fine. So about 2 pieces at about 5 by 7.25. Okay, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch along the 5 inches. So this actually measures 4 7/8, so it's not quite 5 inches, but I'm okay with that. So I'm just gonna score at 4.5. Okay, so I have the same measurement, and that's okay. So instead of scoring at 1/2 inch, I'm just making that a little smaller. Okay, and we're going to bring this again, and then I'm going to open this up, and we're going to add these ones here. Okay, so one on each side, right there, and press down. Okay, so then this will open to the side, and we're gonna repeat very symmetrical to the other side on these. There we go. Press down, and this is gonna close, and then these are gonna close like that, and there you go. That is going to be the back layout. So we're just gonna put that right there. I'm just gonna go ahead and glue the whole thing. Okay, so I'm just gonna add my glue and place this down just right on top of the one that we already have in there, and I'm gonna open it just so I can press down here, and there we go. So it's gonna be more noticeable, the layouts, once you start adding your paper, and you're gonna be able to see how they work. So this is gonna open to the side, and then these 2 open, these 2 open, and then the center all open up. So very simple layouts, but really fun and tons of room for pictures. So when you close your book, this is how it's going to look, just like that. So it's like a little double folio book. Now I did mention we could probably add a floating page at the center here, so I do want to add just a little layout there at the center, and I'm going to, of course this will be optional, but I'm gonna go ahead and cut this piece at 6.5 by 7.25, and I'm going to score along the 6.5. I'm gonna score at 1 inch, okay, and at 1.5. And this 1 inch is what is going to be glued onto the spine. Okay, and I do like folding both ways when I do these center pages. Okay, so they're more flexible when you're turning the page. And then I'm going to just add small layout here. So maybe I can just go ahead and cut maybe 2 pieces. We're gonna do this at 5. I'm gonna do one at 5 by 7. Yeah, one at 5 by 7. Let's do actually 7.25. Okay, and then this one is going to be 5. Okay, and then for this one I'm going to do 6 3/4. So 5 by 7.25 and 5 by 6 3/4. I'm just gonna do in a cascading page. Maybe I can do another one, and this one can be 5 by 6.25. And then I'm going to score these 3 pieces at 1/2 inch. So the first one is going to be along the 6.25. I'm just gonna do 1/2 inch. Then this one along the 7 3/4. Sorry, 6 3/4. And then this one along the 7.25. I'm just gonna do 1/2 inch. Okay, so just 1/2 inch on all these pieces along the top. Okay, I apologize because I ran out of memory and I didn't realize that I was not recording. But what I just did is I went ahead and glued all those pieces on the piece that we cut out. So starting with the larger one, I just glued that one along the top, and then I glued the next size down along the top, and then I added the next one here along the top, and then I went ahead and glued this whole piece, so the 1 inch section is glued right here. So I basically glue it so the page can come from the center of the spine here. So this is that 1 inch, so glue that closer to the back score line here, and that is our floating page here. Now I also just went ahead and cut another piece, and this is going to be kind of like an optional pocket. So I cut this at 8.25. This is by about 4.25, and I just went ahead and score at 1/2 inch on 3 sides. And now I'm just going to cut the corners like that, and I want to add this pocket on that floating page also. So I'm just gonna go ahead and fold, and then I'm going to bring this back, and then here on this center floating page, I'm calling it a floating page, but it's just a center page, I'm going to glue this pocket right here. So let's go ahead and add the glue. I'm gonna add the glue right here, and add the glue there, and then we are going to add these right here along the top, okay, or along the side I mean, and then we are just going to press down and press down. So back here we have this side pocket, and there you go. That is going to be our folio, fabric folio tutorial. I'm just gonna move all of these and we're gonna do a final walkthrough. Okay, so here is our finished folio. I mean, of course, we still have to decorate the inside, but we have this really pretty fabric on the cover. I love how these turned out. It just looks so cute and it's so squishy, and I actually really love the size here as well. So when we open our folio, we have 2 sections, and then we have these middle floating section here. On the left side, this opens to the side, and it opens to the side here as well. We have a little section there with a large belly band. Then here on the center, this opens down, and these two pieces open up, and then this whole thing opens up here also. And then over on this side, we have an accordion fold page, and that is all this section. Then the center floating is just this cascading page, and then on the back we have that pocket. And then for the other side of the folio, this opens like that, and then we have two identical sections here, sections, and then these two open up, and then we have two flaps on the center, and then two openings on the sides. So super fun, easy to make. I hope that you guys enjoy this tutorial, and I want to thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you like the video, make sure that you are subscribed to my channel, and also join the membership if you enjoy extra bonus tutorials, extra content from my channel, and also from my Patreon. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.